Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update. Tuesday, August 13th at midnight, 2019. Otis hail. Are you kidding me? This is John Serlin, whoever that is, holding a gigantic piece of hail that fell here in Colorado yesterday, tying the state record. We'll get to that, but keep calm, because we want to talk about the mire of misinformation that you're being fed over the last year, such as this piece. European contact with the Americas may have triggered global cooling. Now, what this article claims is that as the Europeans came over to America and we gave them diseases, communities to genocide, and disease led to massive reforestation and a dip in carbon dioxide. Because the Native Americans had cut down all the forests because they're such savages that after we murdered them all, the forests grew back and carbon dioxide fell so quickly that the little ice age occurred. And now you see headlines like this coming out today: canceled races, fainting players, how climate change is affecting sport. Yeah, well, these athletes are weak pricks that can't handle actual heat, because it's not the hottest it's ever been on Earth. It's not the hottest it's ever been in 100 years. Had they been alive in 1935, when the temperature in most cities in the U.S. was 10 to 20 degrees hotter than this summer, I think they would have complained a little bit more. But I digress, because they come down here and they say, none of the threats of climate change is bigger than the worsening fires on the West Coast, which is fueled in part by stronger droughts linked to climate change, when in fact they have been proven to have been caused by PSE&G lying about cutting limbs, and nothing to do with stronger droughts, because there is no drought in the West Coast. Yet they continue to talk about stronger droughts that do not exist anywhere in an article that just came out today. Stronger droughts in the West. Yes, which don't exist. It's all your fault, the stronger droughts in the West that don't exist, choking the air quality and preventing people from biking. None of which is true, by the way. Large hail causes damage in towns and neighborhoods. True. Tornadoes and softball-sized hail in northeastern Colorado Sunday. True. Grapefruit-sized hail in Otis tying the state record. True. According to the Colorado Climate Center in Fort Collins, the state record for hail in Colorado is currently sitting at 4.5 inches, which fell yesterday in Otis. And hail of this exact size has been recorded 24 times since 1970. That's a lot of big hail. Now farmers assess the hail damage as the hail moves east from Colorado through Nebraska. Trumbull, Nebraska, millions and millions of acres of farmland went unplanted this year, which, according to the USD, has not affected yields at all. In fact, they upped the yields on today's report. Even though millions and millions of acres of farmland were unplanted, the USDA upped the yields. And in this article, also coming out today, it says that the USDA forecasts U.S. corn and soybean production to be down. But on this one, it says that corn is up. And according to Agro Insurance, millions of unplanted acres means billions in crop insurance, which means there's no crops. So how the crop report increased the yield after millions of acres are unplanted is anyone's guess. But more importantly, there's hail damage yesterday that's definitely not in that report that has killed. Yes, as soon as I heard the hail hitting the window and the wind, I knew what was going on. Opening up an ear of his corn, Schmidt saw clear signs of hail damage. There it is. Would you just look at it? Schmidt says he wouldn't call this the garden spot until a week ago. Stuff really looked good in Nebraska. In fact, he thought he was going to have a banner year. But the hail yesterday destroyed his crops. Farmers may be able to harvest some of the crops, but a lot of the farmers can do at this point. The biggest thing, assessing the damage and looking at the potential for how that crop could potentially finish out his season. Or you may have to feed it to your animals. But someone's not telling the truth here. Either the USDA is lying because they say that in this report that I read right here, August 12th, corn and soybean is down. Soybean is down 20% from last year. Corn is down 4%. In this forecast, corn is up 4% in this, and soybeans are down. In this one, they're both down. In this one, there's millions of unplanted crops that aren't being counted, so it's anyone's guess. Here are the facts, though. Our Antarctic cold front drops record snow in Southeast Australia. There are global warming alarmists from Australia that are trolling our page and saying, it's the winter. It always snows here in the winter. Yeah, but record snow in Southeast Australia, in places that haven't seen snow since before global warming. I think that those people need to rethink their protocol. But once you're brainwashed, you'll say anything. The Blizzard of Oz, videos of kangaroos frolicking in the snow. I got sent the video, but you're just going to get a picture. Take a look. It's not something you see every day in Australia. Kangaroos in the snow. Nor do you see snow in the Sahara. And according to Baum, there should never be snow in Australia ever. And there's a kangaroo clearly in almost a half a meter of snow there. And here's the kangaroos frolicking in said snow, which is illegal to show in the U.S., but we're going to do it anyway. Because we can. Imagine that. Holla! Where are we? Seismic update. Things are popping off in the Philippines and New Zealand. We have a 5.5 trifecta today. Tonala, Mexico. Queenstown, New Zealand. And the South Indian Ocean in the middle of nowhere. Interesting. Quake popping off there. Worldwide volcano news update. Nothing of note. Come check out the recent puffs and puff passes. Now, the breaking news coming out 24 hours ago is that the South China Morning Post published this article, which will probably get debunked and ripped and taken down. Now, China scientists warn of global cooling trick up nature's sleeve. The new research, which has just been submitted to the journal and I'm not able to get the paper yet. I looked. Sheds light on a 500-year weather cycle, suggesting a cool change could be on the way. Now, I did research these scientists, and here's their most recent paper from 2016, which you can have access to the full paper here. And what you're going to glean quickly is that their analysis of this particular region, that they came out with their new conclusion, which is that global cooling trick is up nature's sleeves coming soon. No room for complacency or inaction, the findings say, is based on their extensive work in paleoclimatology. Now, the past decade, they have created this graph, which shows very high resolution of 11,000 years in Earth's history, starting just before the Younger Dryas event, which is here, and extending all the way back into the major glacial period of Earth's most recent history, back to 21,000 years ago. It is such a high resolution that they're able to see the difference in steppe, arboreal forest, and meadow, and their sparseness or density, an actual proxy for temperature, and some stalactite information on O18 data, as well as the humidity. So for a decade, they've accumulated this high-resolution proxy data, and their newest paper, which cannot be debunked based on their previous work, here, Vegetation and Climate Change During the Last Deglaciation in the Great Qingan Mountain, Northeast China, clearly has more of that proxy data. And what they conclude is simple. A new study has found winters in northern China have been warming since 4000 BC, regardless of human activity. But the mainland scientists behind the research warn there is no room for complacency or inaction on climate change, with the prospect of a sudden global cooling as a possible danger. The study found that winds from the Arctic Siberia have been growing weaker. The conifer tree line has been retreating north, and there has been a steady rise in biodiversity and a general warming trend that continues today. It appears to have little to do with the increase in greenhouse gases or man, which began in the Industrial Revolution. Now, lead scientist Dr. Wu Jing from the Key Lab of Cenozoic Geology and Environment at the Institute of Geology and Geophysics, part of the Chinese Academy of Science, said that the study found no evidence of human influence on northern China's warming winters. None. Zero. But if you go look at Chris Martz's new blog, he believes that man has an effect on climate, which is sad because he's just entering college and he's already indoctrinated. I had hope for him, but we'll see what happens. Driving forces include the sun, the atmosphere, and its interaction with the ocean, Wu said. Nothing to do with humans. Simply because a small greenhouse gas like carbon dioxide, which is 0.04% of total greenhouse gases, can in no way affect temperature. Now, according to Chris Martz, he thinks that doubling CO2 to 850 parts per million would add 1 degree C temperature to Earth. But that's based on nothing but the IPCC lies. And according to him, physics. Please show me the physics that proves that 0.04% of greenhouse gases caused by man increase the temperature when you double the parts per million. Please, Chris, show me that equation. It does not exist. And if it does, it's called math, which is not facts, which we can see thousands of years of high-resolution paleoclimatological data if we just go look at the data. We just have to go look at it. Yeah, we can come look at this great proxy data here that shows no effect from man ever during this period. And if we look at some more recent graphs, there is no way you can see a correlation of man's effect at all. In fact, because of all of the cooling events that have occurred in our lifetime, there is no way to prove that man has any effect on climate except the urban heat island effect. And that's just because we have so much in cities. It's warmer. There's air conditioners burning. There is so much petroleum products being burned and energy consumed that it's creating heat, like the e-cig that's about to blow up in your face. It's a disgrace. Common prescriptions linked to increased dementia risk. Who knew that? Yeah, prescriptions, they're good for you, right? They get you well. No, they don't. Not a single prescription that I know of makes you well. But they do relieve symptoms and make you sicker. Now let's talk about Alzheimer's and some of the conclusions that they've come to in this study. It's pretty simple. There are a few types of drugs that you should avoid. Anything that's pharmaceutical, in my opinion. I don't take a fucking thing, nor will I ever. But there are certain medications that may increase dementia. And I had it parsed up here, but I just can't seem to find it. Jesus, where is it? So we know that genes, diet, lifestyle habits, and more can increase dementia, but what they're finding here is that certain types of prescription drugs, including antidepressants and others like anticholinergics, drugs that are used for urinary incontinence, your water pill, so to speak, Parkinson's disease, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, or COPD drugs, which used to be emphysema. All these drugs, including anticholinergic, may propose a threat to you. So come look at this study, and if you're taking these drugs, find a natural way to get off of them. I implore you. Did you hear the good news? Ohio legislators accidentally legalized pot. If you want to know more about it, this is how stupid these... Yeah, well, read about it. Hemp is legal. Wait a minute, isn't pot and hemp and cannabis the same? Yeah. Well, how do we tell the difference? We don't have a test for that. Uh-oh. Guys, the global warming alarmists have been reporting how the Danish Meteorological Institute and others are... Well, let's just go back. Let's get a new tab here, and let's go over to our friends at electroverse.net and get some of the facts. If you don't know, just type in electroverse.net and you'll come over to his blog, where their most recent post today, Australia hit by Antarctic front with towns receiving their first snow in decades. And then you'll get all of the pertinent lists of data that we need to look at, including the one in question here from the Danish Meteorological Institute, which showed a huge downward spike, which global warming alarmists picked up on and reported on. What they didn't report on was the record growth of ice during the spring, but they did report on what appeared to be a record melting period this summer. And that's this down drop right here on the graph on August 1st. This down drop on August 1st has since recovered, and we're way up into multi-decadal averages. But why I bring this up is because the Danish Meteorological Institute published this today, that their observations of that drop down were false. And if you don't read Danish, well, I will translate it for you, because they tweeted it out as well. And you can come over to Twitter here from the DMI and translate that tweet. And the tweet says, was there record heat on the ice sheet last Friday? No. No, there wasn't. We're talking about this drop down. Last Friday is right here. Was there record heat on the ice sheet last Friday? No. Quality checks have confirmed our assumptions that the measurement was too high. The temperature at the summit was not above 0 degrees either Thursday, August 1st, or Friday, August 2nd. And what that means is this could have never happened. Is it sabotage? It certainly seems that way, because the mainstream media was ready to pick up on this one-day drop down as if they caused this, and then they reported on it, and then a day later the DMI said, wait a minute, something's wrong here. Somebody's lying. Our graph is showing this, but it didn't happen. You be the judge. Those are the facts. Oh my gosh, I can't even get through this without we got to watch an ad.
Surfers will look at the ocean as home.
Sorry, we're not talking about your article, National Chartographic. If you guys are looking for intentional community housing with communities that matter, check out the Foundation for Intentional Communities. One of our viewers asked me about Heartwood Co-housing in Bayfield, and I never heard of it. But I went there and looked at it, and I would never buy into a community like this that's selling houses for market value, and all the neighbors are built on top of each other like a commune or like a project when they have 300 acres of land. Doesn't make any sense to me. But if that's your choice, go for it. What this website shows you is all of the intentional communities around and available for you. Now, a lot of these communities are based on religions, which is another big problem that we're all experiencing. So I do not recommend this at all. But for you people that are interested in intentional communities, here is your portal. I think that neighbors should be separate in sovereignty and autonomy, and that allows for better barter. When you get small groups of people trying to work together, there's always problems. But these are the intentional communities around the U.S. you can join right now. There are thousands of them. Why there aren't that many in safe areas is beyond me. They're all in the most dangerous places to live. West Coast, East Coast. Go figure. I guess those people want to die together, as if an alien ship is hiding behind Nibiru and it's about to come and get us. Time to drink the Kool-Aid, kids. Now, how to spot the toxic algae that's killing dogs in the southeast? It's algae. Any type of this algae can be toxic. It can be blue, it can be green, it can be red, it can be in mats, it can be in salt water, it can be in fresh water. Those are the facts. Read the article. Don't eat the algae. Don't do it. Get a life straw or a big Berkey. Now, thanks to our president and multinational corporations, the U.S. significantly weakens the Endangered Species Act so we can drill, baby, drill, and mine, baby, mine, this planet into the ground. while you get your ass taxed for plant food. Supermassive black hole at Milky Way center just flashed with an unprecedented bright burst. A black hole that sucks everything in, including light, just flashed. Like a black... What? I mean, this fraud, it doesn't even make sense. There's the black hole flashing a bright light, sucking in all matter and light. It's now emanating matter and light. I think we have a long way to go in cosmology, astronomy, astrophysics. I think that all these so-called scientists and specialists need to wake the up real quick. 100% of your models are 100% wrong 100% of the time. You've spent $100 trillion looking for 100 billion different ways to explain dark matter, and 100% of the time they have all failed. Not a single shred of evidence for dark matter exists. Zero. Your model is a failure. Your black hole is emitting light. That's your plight. Perseid meteor shower is set to peak. Are you peaking? Well, the Perseids certainly are. And here's what you need to know. The moon will be full, and you're totally fluxed. There's your treat, Monday and Tuesday, full moon, when the annual Perseid meteor shower will reach its peak. It's often considered one of the best showers, except during a full moon. Yes, it's true. CrestoneEnergyFair.org is where you find out the information for the 30th annual Crestone Energy Fair now, according to the site. How quick I forget. If you want to know more, come check out one of the hardest sites to navigate that I've ever found. Or just come to Crestone and ask someone. Hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing. Just like Chris Martz once was a follower, now he's a leader. He's a leader in disinformation that man changes the climate. Be safe, everyone. We love you, even Chris.